Hey guys, picture a man alone in his armchair, head bowed silent. His strength gone not from some disease, but from neglect that could have been stopped. If you're over 65, listen up because this could change how you think about your health. That man with his vitality slipping away isn't a one-off. Every year, thousands of older men face a drop in strength, sexual function, and emotional clarity, all because they think they're doing the right thing by giving up something they believe they don't need anymore. I'm Dr. Sarah Evans, a men's health specialist with over 40 years helping thousands of guys like you get their spark back naturally. Society's drilled into you that self-pleasure is shameful or childish. But here's the truth. If you stop masturbating after 65, your body doesn't just take a break, it starts to break down. Today, I'm going to walk you through 4 brutal consequences of stopping masturbation in old age from your body to your soul, and more importantly, how to prevent them before it's too late. Stick around till the end, because the final consequence is something even most doctors don't talk about, but it could double your risk of prostate trouble if you ignore it. If you care about protecting your health and staying independent as you age, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell for tips made just for men over 65. Drop a 1 in the comments if you're with me, or a 0 if you're not sure. I'm open to both because this is a conversation you deserve to have, no shame, just real answers. Let's dive into the first consequence, one that catches too many guys off guard. This first one's a shock for most men, and I've seen it play out in my office too many times. A guy late 60s or early 70s walks in looking confused and frustrated. He tells me he hasn't had a spontaneous erection in months, sometimes over a year. What hits him hardest isn't just the loss of performance, it's how fast it happened. One day he felt like himself. The next, something inside just quit. Ever wonder if this could happen just because you stopped a habit society says you don't need? That's right, masturbation. Let me break it down. Your penis isn't some decoration. It's a working organ that needs regular action to stay healthy. When you go long stretches without any stimulation, especially after 65, trouble starts brewing, blood flow slows down, less oxygen gets through. Tissues start to stiffen, not the good kind, but the kind that leads to fibrosis, nerve damage, and permanent erectile dysfunction. This isn't just talk, it's basic vascular biology. Think about it. If you stopped moving your legs for 6 months, what would happen? Your muscles would weaken, coordination would tank. You might even struggle to walk. Your manhood works the same way. Past a certain age, it doesn't sit on standby. It starts shutting down if you don't use it. The worst part. This decline sneaks up on you. No loud alarms. One day your morning wood's gone. Then even touch or fantasies don't work. Eventually, even pills might not help because the foundation's already crumbled. I've sat across from men, their eyes misty, asking if they can get it back. Some do with intense therapy and lifestyle changes, but others waited too long. They thought skipping masturbation was no big deal, a sign of self-control. But it was the quiet start of their function fading. This isn't about obsessing over sex, it's about protecting your circulatory system, your masculinity, your identity. Just gentle masturbation once or twice a week keeps blood-flowing nerves alive and tells your body this part still matters. A Journal of Men's Health study shows regular stimulation can cut erectile dysfunction risk by 30% in older men. But losing erections is just the start. The next consequence hits even deeper: your hormones. We've talked about how losing erections can blindside you, but this next one cuts deeper because it messes with what makes you, your hormones. I see this all the time in my clinic. A man walks in, usually 70 or older looking, worn out, grumpy, or like the fire inside him's gone out. He says he doesn't feel like himself, but can't put a finger on why. Maybe he's skipping his morning walks, eating weirdly, or feeling flat, dragging through the day. He blames aging, stress, or bad sleep. But when we dig deeper, the root cause is often the same. His testosterone has tanked not just from getting older, but because he's completely stopped sexual stimulation, including masturbation. Here's the deal. Masturbation isn't just about feeling good. It's one of the few natural ways older guys can keep their body pumping out testosterone. This isn't about sex or fantasies. It's biology. When you get aroused and release, your brain fires off. Dopamine wakes up the hypothalamus and tells your testicles, even in your 70s, to keep making testosterone. But when you quit, when weeks or months pass without any sexual activity, your body gets the opposite memo. It thinks intimacy's off the table, so it dials back hormone production. And once that cycle kicks in, it's tough to reverse. Low testosterone doesn't just make you tired, it steals your identity. You can't focus, lose interest in things that used to light you up. Muscles weaken, bones get brittle. You're more likely to feel down, even depressed. Worst of all, your heart disease risk climbs, putting you closer to heart attacks or strokes. I had a patient, a 70-year-old retired mechanic, tell me he felt like a hollow shell after years without stimulation. He wasn't getting out of bed with any pep, stopped joking with his grandkids like he used to. His words stuck with me. Dr. Evans, I don't even know who I am anymore. That wasn't vanity, it was loss. The tragedy is this could have been avoided. With a bit of know-how and a simple habit he thought was wrong, he could have held on to not just his hormones, but his joy, energy, and drive. A Journal of Sexual Medicine study found regular sexual stimulation keeps testosterone levels 25% higher in older men. Hormones might be invisible, but the next consequence is one you'll feel deep in your body, sometimes with pain. Now we've covered erections and hormones, but this next consequence hits a part of your body. You can't ignore your prostate. There's a discomfort older guys don't talk about much. A heavy, dull ache deep in your pelvis, like pressure after sitting too long, or a nagging urge to pee even when your bladder's not full. It doesn't hit like a heart attack. It builds slowly, quietly, until it starts messing with your daily life. Some guys deal with it for months, even years, before telling a doctor. What shocks me is how often this silent suffering traces back to one overlooked cause: prostate congestion from a lack of ejaculation. Your prostate isn't just along for the ride, it's an active gland that makes and stores seminal fluid. That fluid's meant to move to be flushed out. When you stop masturbating or having sex entirely, especially after 65, that fluid sits. It thickens. Pressure builds. Inflammation creeps in. That's when you start noticing changes: slower urine flow, lower back pain, or that constant need to pee that wakes you up at night. I can't tell you how many older patients come to me thinking they've got a bladder problem, only to find out they're dealing with an irritated, swollen prostate. In many cases, the fix is in pills. It's motion, your body's natural cleanup through regular ejaculation. But if you ignore this too long, things can get serious. Some guys end up with chronic prostatitis, a painful, stubborn condition that's tough to treat and even harder to live with. Others face invasive procedures just to feel normal again. And there's a bigger risk most don't hear about. A Harvard study showed regular ejaculation can cut prostate cancer risk by 20%. The idea is simple: when you clear out the prostate regularly, you reduce buildup of harmful stuff. But if that fluid sits for months, inflammation grows, and so does long-term risk. I had a patient, a 67-year-old retired postal worker, come in with a swollen prostate, needing to pee every hour, thinking it was just old age. He'd gone nearly 2 years without any sexual activity, including masturbation, because he felt it wasn't needed. When we checked, his PSA levels were high, and he faced biopsy talks that could have been avoided with something as natural as occasional release. This isn't about chasing thrills, it's about preventing pain and understanding your body doesn't stop needing care after 65. Prostate trouble's bad, but the final consequence cuts even deeper, right to your emotional core. This last consequence is the quietest and maybe the cruelest of all. It doesn't show up on blood tests or get measured easily, but you'll feel it deep inside, a numbing of your emotions, like the fire inside you's gone out. I've talked to so many men in my clinic who describe feeling like they're just going through the motions, not really living. They feel empty, disconnected, like a vital part of them has slipped away. They don't talk about it much. Most older guys weren't taught how. But I see it in their slower steps, the way they avoid mirrors, how their voices soften when I ask how they're doing. This isn't just about sex, it's about vitality. When you're over 65 and decide to stop masturbating, maybe because you think it's not needed, not right, or you're on your own, that choice doesn't just hit your body, it seeps into your mind, your feelings, your sense of being alive. I had a patient, a 72-year-old widower, who used to work in a bank. He told me after years without any intimacy, even with himself, he felt like an invisible shadow. He stopped laughing with friends, lost interest in fishing trips he used to love. He said, "Dr. Evans, I don't know what I lost, but I don't feel alive anymore." That's the deepest pain I've ever seen, not illness, but losing the joy of living. This happens because when you stop releasing through masturbation, you cut off a key pathway to producing dopamine, oxytocin, and endorphins, brain chemicals that balance your moods, anxiety, and keep you emotionally steady. Without them, you're more likely to face depression, isolation, even mental fog. I've seen confident, outgoing men turn inward, pulling away from people, not because life changed much, but because they stopped connecting with themselves. The danger is most guys don't see the link. They don't tie that emotional emptiness to the choice they made months ago to stop self-pleasure. A Journal of Psychiatry study found regular sexual release can lower depression risk by 25% in older men. Masturbation isn't just physical, it keeps your mind sharp, your heart warm, and your spirit alive. But now that you know the consequences, let me show you how to start getting back what you might have lost. If you've made it this far, I want to thank you for sticking with me, for opening up to a topic that's tough to talk about, and most of all, for caring enough about your health to face the truth. After over 40 years working with men in their 60s, 70s, and beyond, I can tell you there's a belief too many guys hold on to that intimacy, pleasure, and desire are things you outgrow, that your body's supposed to go quiet, that giving up that part of yourself is noble. But that belief is stealing your health, your joy, and who you are. Today, we've covered 4 crushing consequences of stopping masturbation after 65. First, your sexual function fades. Erections vanish, not from age, but from neglect, like a muscle left unused. Then your hormones crash, testosterone drops, leaving you tired, unmotivated, and at risk for heart trouble. Next, your prostate suffers congestion, inflammation, and a higher chance of cancer from fluid that's not cleared out. And finally, the one that breaks my heart, emotional numbness, a hollow feeling like your inner fire's gone just from cutting off your connection to yourself. These aren't small losses. They're life-changing shifts, not because you're old, but because of neglect. But here's the good news. It doesn't have to stay this way. Your body still knows how to feel. Your mind still craves connection. Your health still needs you to care for every part of you, even the parts no one sees. This isn't about lust, it's about life. It's about keeping you strong, whole, and human. You don't need to feel shame for choosing health over silence. I've seen men in their 70s, even 75, light up again, not with pills or surgery, but by simply respecting their bodies. One patient, a retired plumber, told me after starting a gentle routine, "Dr. Evans, I feel like I'm alive again." Just 1 to 2 times a week, no pressure is enough to keep blood-moving hormones, steady your prostate, clear, and your spirit awake. I'm asking you to act today. Start with one small step, a moment of self-care. No guilt, no judgment. Try it this week and feel the difference. If this message hits you, even just a little, drop a 1 in the comments to let me know you're here. You care, you're fighting for your health. If it didn't, that's okay. Leave a 0 and tell me what you need. Your voice matters. Hit that like button if this helped, share it with a buddy who needs to hear it, and subscribe with the bell for more tips. If you want to support content like this, consider a small donation. Your health, your strength, your manhood, they're worth fighting for. Start today, one step at a time.